Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Mr. President, I know you're about to get on the road to an amazing rally up in Indiana, but before you leave, and I know Ambassador Grinnell had some final words, would like to turn the floor over to our next president, Mr.
Well, thank you
Mr.
very
Trump.
much, and it's been great. I love the farmers. I'm very comfortable with the farmers. I feel I know your business, but I haven't plowed quite as much as you. But I do know your business very well. We've had a tremendous relationship. I've always won with the farmers, and that's because I produce promises made, promises kept. Number one, your energy bill within 12 months will be cut in half, and that's my pledge all over the country. Beyond farmers, that's my pledge all over the country. We have more energy under our feet than any other country. We have, I call it liquid gold, and we have more than any other country. We have ANWR in Alaska, which the first thing they did, the Biden-Harris administration, everybody wanted it. It's the biggest. It could be as big or bigger than Saudi Arabia, and would have supplied Asia, would have supplied vast parts of the world, would have made more money than you could even imagine. We were going to lower your taxes, pay off debt. They terminated it. Reagan wanted it, couldn't get it. Everybody wanted it, couldn't get it. I got it. They were all set to drill, and the first thing they did the first week is they terminated ANWR. But I can get it back very quickly because I got it through Congress, and we'll get it back very quickly. They didn't terminate it through Congress. They just terminated it. Just absolutely ridiculous. But I'll have your energy bill down within 12 months. We'll have your energy bills throughout the country. I'm not just talking here. I'm talking all over. Air conditioning, heating, everything. We'll have it down by 50%, 50. And it won't even be very hard. You know, up in New England, they have tremendous energy costs, and a few minor changes and we can reduce it. New England is a disaster. I won't say they vote for Democrats so much anymore. I think we're probably taking that over because of energy and because of a lot of other reasons. But we're going to protect your fracking. You know, in my case, I was always for it, and in her case, she was never for it. She wants to defund the police, too. All of a sudden, she likes the police. It started a short while ago. I really like the police a lot. Now, she wanted to defund the police. She did things in Minnesota that were so bad. She was bailing out people that wanted to kill the police and were actually trying to kill the police and burning down Minneapolis. So we're going to do things the way you wanted. A big factor here is, with all of you as I speak, is energy in two ways. Number one, you want to be able to collect royalties and other things, or even have a job in energy. That's very important to help your farm. And the other thing is you got to keep the prices down. So we're going to do both, and we'll do it fast too. It'll be largely taken care of within 12 months. I predict within 12 months it'll be down 50%. And if they get in, your energy costs are going through the roof. Okay, they're going to go through the roof. You won't have a farm very long. I will tell you that. I just noticed behind me John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company, but as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States, so that if I win, John Deere is going to be paying a 200%. They haven't started it yet. Maybe they haven't even made the final decision yet, but I think they have. John Deere is going to, and anybody else that does this, because it's hurting our farmers, it's hurting our manufacturing. And if you do that, you're going to have a 200% tariff put on the product that you make in Mexico, right across the border. They think they're going to make product cheaper in Mexico and then sell it in for the same prices they did before, make a lot of money by getting rid of our labor and our jobs, and really a great name, because John Deere is a great name. I buy a lot of John Deere, tremendous. I'm one of their big customers. I buy a lot of John Deere product as a private person. But if they're going to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on everything that they want to send back into the United States, which means one of two things. Our country is going to make a lot of money, or they're not going to build, they're not going to open, and or they're going to sell it to another country. They're entitled to do that. If they want to build in the country, in the United States, there's no tariff. You can go ahead and you can build in any one of the 50 states. You can go ahead. But if they don't want to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on John Deere. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to announce very shortly, if they think I'm going to win, or if I do win, they're going to announce that they're not going to build in Mexico. Mexico's taken a tremendous amount of our business, especially over the last few years with this group, because this group doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. Mexico is taking a lot of business, and a lot of it's done and financed by China. China is building massive car plants now in Mexico. And it's the same thing they're building. And a friend of mine builds car plants, and he said the biggest ones in the world are being built in Mexico. They're going to put Detroit out of business. They're going to put car manufacturing out of business in the United States. And I'm just telling everybody involved in this stuff, we're not going to rip off the United States anymore. We're going to put big tariffs on those cars that are coming in here at 100 to 200%, and they're no longer going to be competitive. So you better stay in Michigan, and you better stay in the areas that you're in right now. And what I really want you to do is come in and build your plants in this country and put our auto workers to work, because we've lost about 60% of our auto working business over the years. And we're going to get it all back, every one of them. We're going to get it all back, and we're going to get it back quickly. And we can control that so easily. So if they're building those plants in Mexico, which they're starting, if they're building and they wouldn't have done it with me, but now I guess they figure when they started, it was a little while ago, I guess they didn't even know I was going to run. They weren't too happy when they heard I was going to. But they're going to have to pay a tremendous tariff, which means two things. They're not going to build the plant if it's not too late. They're not going to build the plant. This country is going to make a lot of money. Or they're going to build the plant, but they're going to build it in the United States somewhere, and ideally a place like Michigan or South Carolina, where we have a lot of auto business. But we're not going to let that happen. But John Deere has got to understand that if they build in Mexico, if they start closing plants, in this case it was in Iowa, they're going to close a big plant and a couple of them. And that's just the beginning. The problem is that's just the beginning. Then all of a sudden you'll hear in a year from now they're going to do another one. All of a sudden they're not going to be in the country anymore. They're going to have to pay a very big price to be able to sell that product into the United States, okay? So that's very important. And I just have to say this. So Dave McCormick is here. He's running for the Senate. He's a great gentleman. He's a hero, great warrior. And he's a real warrior, too. Served incredibly in the military, so highly respected, did great in the military, went out, did tremendously in the private sector. And he's running against Bob Casey. Bob Casey never did anything for you. He never did anything for Pennsylvania. I was president for 4 years. I don't even know if I ever met him. I mean, I've met everybody. I don't know if I met him. Maybe I did, but it certainly didn't make a hell of an impression on me. But Bob Casey has done nothing for you as farmers. Well, look at the problems you have. As soon as I left, you have problems. You didn't have problems when I was running things, because we ran it and we watched over the farmers. It was very important to me. But Bob Casey has done nothing for the farmers, and he's done nothing for the state. He's got long-term legacy. He inherited the job sort of from his father. And, when that happens, I was telling David, not easy there are other cases like that too, never easy to beat, but they're living only on a past reputation of somebody else, in this case, a father. He's done nothing for the state, and I didn't come here for David, but I have a lot of respect for him. And if I only do David, I tell you what, you have to get him. He's an incredible guy. He's going to make your farmers, he's going to help me make the farmers rich. We'll make the farmers rich again. And I appreciate everybody. I appreciate very much everybody. Just hang in there. And I know it's not been pleasant. But the first thing I do is I tell China, you got to start buying. China's not buying like they're supposed to under the agreement. And I'd say, China, you have to start buying. I'd like to, if I can, Lee, I'd like to have a few questions, if you want, from the media in the back. A lot of media here. Yes, ma'am.